Every year, nearly 9,000 animals are abandoned and sent to live in animal shelters. The Ewing Animal Shelter, run by Mary Ann, accepts any and all strays who need care and a home. It is people like Mary Ann who devote their time, labor, and love, who meet the needs of these unwanted animals until they can find them a perfect home. For this project, I knew that a lot of presentations would be done on people who have helped people less fortunate. So I decided to take a different road and find out more about people who have helped animals that are less fortunate. With the failing economy, many people have been forced to give up their pets. Between the cost of vet bills and everyday pet supplies, some people simply can't afford their animals anymore. I chose to interview Mary Ann Welsh because she runs the Ewing Animal Shelter and goes out of her way to make sure that as many animals as possible have a home, even if it is in the shelter. Though the shelter is given a specific budget by the township, it is still a struggle to have enough supplies to care for the 15 dogs and 40 cats who live there. I myself have 3 dogs and 2 cats, and that alone is a lot of work. It has to be a huge challenge to handle the amount of stress that comes with caring for so many lives. I wanted, both for myself and for viewers, to get a sense of just how important her job is and what it means to society.
My name is Mary Ann Welsh.
All right, and can you give us just a little background of the shelter and how you started working here?
Well, I wanted a job working as a veterinarian, and I really couldn't afford the school, so the next best thing was to work in the shelter and get hand on hand with animals.
Yeah.
And that's how I came down here and applied for a job, and I got it. I've been here for 8 years. I went to animal control school and became an animal control officer. Well, I moved here from Scotland, and when I moved here, I moved to Ewing, and this was the closest place. And usually, say if you live in Ewing, you can work in Ewing, and that's why it's Ewing. Well, we come in here, the first thing we do in the morning is go around and check every animal in every cage, make sure that they're waggling their tails and are happy, and there's no like illnesses. And if anybody has like diarrhea or anybody's sick, then we check that out first thing in the morning to make sure everybody's okay. Yeah. Then after that, it's mostly like cleaning, cleaning the cages, sterilising them, making sure that we don't pass on disease to disease. Then after that, it's playtime. After all the cleaning's done, you bond, you socialise with them, to make them more adoptable.
After the interview, I bonded and socialized with the animals as well. The cats were especially friendly. The dogs, on the other hand, were a little more anxious. So how many hours a week do you stay here, or work here?
Well, I work the eight hours every 2 weeks, but sometimes we stay a little bit longer when we have somebody that's sick or somebody that comes in and needs a little bit more caring and loving. We stay longer and take care of them.
What would you say your favorite part of working here is?
Favorite part is it's like a happy ending when you see a dog or a cat get adopted to a good home. Yeah. Then it makes the job really happy.
Yeah. What about your least favorite?
Euthanization, when we have to put them to sleep.
So how often does that happen?
It does happen maybe every 6 or 9 months sometimes. We don't do it that often here at all, because this is like an extended stay shelter. Yeah. Only reason we do it is if they're really, really sick, or if a dog comes in it's very, very aggressive, then it's not adoptable.
How do you feel at the end of the day when you go home? Do you feel accomplished, sort of depressed, maybe?
I think it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. I used to get very depressed leaving here. Then I had to realise that every dog or cat that's in here, in the shelter, they're here, they've got food and water, they've got blankets, they've got heat, and they're comfortable, rather than being outside in the street.
Would you recommend this job to others? Yes,
I would. It's got to be somebody that really, really cares about animals.
Yeah, so what does it take to sort of undertake this huge job?
Really, just a great heart,
Yeah.
a lot of spirit, and you still have to look at reality sometimes, but it's the tough part.
How do you personally handle the stress of taking care of so many animals?
That's a tough one. I think about it a lot, I pray a lot. I read up on a lot of articles for animals that I could learn more about them to see if I can help the situations, shelter situations, so that the animals are not stressed out. When the animals are not stressed out and they seem happy, I think that makes us feel happy.
Yeah. Is it hard to not take animals home with you?
Yeah, it's hard. I take quite a few home with me.
How many animals do you have?
At home right now I have 5 cats. I did have a dog, but she's passed away, but now I'm down to 5 cats. But yeah, we take them home and foster them, and then take them to adoption days and get them adopted. But I think if I had a bigger house, I'd take more.
Below the shelter is a metal foundry where they build sculptures. During the day, you can hear all the sounds of the foundry, and although the conditions aren't ideal for the shelter, it is all the township can afford.
Well, this is an old building. I'd like to see a nice new shelter with up-to-date equipment and more veterinarian care coming in, because everything this is run by the township and everything is on a budget.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful what you spend on each animal. But that's where the volunteers come in. They help me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any shelter could run good without volunteers. The volunteers do great work.
Yeah. So you would definitely say this job is rewarding.
Oh yeah, when dogs, carrots, we've had rabbits, lizards, everything, even the little hamsters, when they all come in, and somebody comes in, it's a pet for everybody, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you feel your work has contributed to society?
Well, but I think people that don't have kids, or older people that had their kids and the kids are left home, and they just want companionship, or a single person, whether it's a man or a woman, and they just want that little companionship, that little extra, and they can care for an animal. And I think they get more rewarded in what I do, because they call me up and they're like, oh, this is fantastic, and it's changed their life.
Yeah, definitely.
It's changed their life, because it's a big responsibility to, adopt an animal. And, most people they're very happy.
Yeah.
And that's rewarding to see people happy.
I decided that this project wouldn't be complete unless I actually went to the place where Marion works, the Ewing Animal Shelter. I decided to sort of get in her shoes and hang out with some of the cats and dogs. So I spent the afternoon here just walking around, helping, sort of learning the ins and outs, just dipping my feet into a little bit of what she does. I love animals, but it is a lot harder than it looks. I've only been here for about 3 hours, and I've had to feed cats, do their litter, socialize with the dogs. It's a lot more work than it looks like, and it just goes to show you how much effort she really puts in. Thank you, Marianne.
You're welcome.